What's up, YouTubers? This is going to be a different kind of video altogether. Last month we sadly lost a road warrior animal. What I said in that video, that the Dudley Boyz were my greatest tag team in professional wrestling, but I also said that overall, as a tag team in pro wrestling, the Road Warriors were the greatest tag team. What I'm going to do is do a comparison between the two. I am going to speak a little bit about the Road Warriors at first to say how they started off and how they evolved into becoming the Hall of Famers that they are. I'm also going to talk about the Dudley Boyz and tell you a little bit of how they evolved to becoming the Hall of Famers that they are as well. So bear with me. I'm not going to bore you with all the little details because I'm sure a lot of you already know the history of the Road Warriors and the Dudley Boyz, but this is just my opinion on what these guys have done with pro wrestling and the legacy that they have left for everybody. So we'll start off at the top. We'll start off with the Road Warriors, with Road Warrior Hawk and Road Warrior Animal, also known as the Legion of Doom, during their WWF years. So the Road Warriors started off in 1983. They broke in with the training from Eddie Sharkey, who was a native of the Minnesota area. And when they broke into Georgia Championship Wrestling, which was one of the first territories that they broke into, they were put in a few matches, but eventually, I think it was like within their first month, they were given the opportunity to wrestle for the Georgia Championship Wrestling, or the Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling World Tag Team Championship at the time, and they actually won it. So at that time, that was unheard of a brand new team coming in and just winning the World Tag Team Championship of that territory at the time. Now, they were in Jim Crockett Promotions for quite a while, and then they saw the writing on the wall that it was time to make a change, and in doing that, they moved up north to back where they were from the Minnesota area, in the AWA with Vern Gagne, and they ended up winning the AWA World Tag Team Championship as well. So that was the start of them becoming who they were. During that time, also when they were started off in the NWA, they started off in a kind of village people biker gimmick, sort of similar to the Mel Gibson Mad Max Road Warrior get up. So as they evolved and they went into the AWA, they decided, and I think it was also just before them going to the AWA as well, that they decided to work with their with Warrior Paint. Warrior Paint, just different designs that they did over the course of the years, which eventually evolved into what we came to know them as, whereas Hawk had a sort of bird design on his face, and then the Joker / Two-Face design, and then Animal decided to go with sort of like tiger eyes at first, tiger eyes on top of tiger eyes, and then eventually the double spider is what he was known as. But also what made the Road Warriors different as well is that they had a totally different hairstyle to what other teams had as well. The Road Warriors wanted to be as different as they could be, And what I say by that is, what I mean by their hairstyles is, Animal decided that he was going to have the middle mohawk, and Road Warrior Hawk decided he was going to have the double mohawk. So they were a tag team, so it would just look like that they could just plug themselves together, and that would be quite intimidating to their opponents, apparently. But little did they know that they needed that hairstyle for the next 20 odd years. So what the Road Warriors were good at doing as well, throughout the 80s and the 90s, they evolved with the times. So they changed their look, their ring attire, their face paint as time went on, but also kind of kept it trademarked with themselves as well. Like I say, they started off with a biker gimmick, which would eventually evolve into them wearing the legendary spiked shoulder pads, and that was with them from going back to the NWA in the latter half of the 80s, when they were over in Japan, and eventually coming to the WWF WWE in 1990, where they had the legendary red shoulder pads. So over all those years, they were able to evolve with the times. But what was another thing that was unique about the time of the Road Warriors was when they first broke in, they started on the top. Okay, they became the World Tag Team Champions, and they just kept going up from the top. You couldn't get any higher than that in the business. You kept shooting up, which just was unheard of. Anybody that knows anything about the crowd reactions to the Road Warriors would tell you that there's a phrase in the business called a Road Warrior pop, and that means when the fans go absolutely ballistic with cheers. Fans will know the kind of pops that Hulk Hogan or Randy Savage or Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Undertaker or even John Cena has had over the years. It's just one of those things that's unheard of. You could barely hear yourself in the arena, and as we went on, getting back to what I was saying, as we were going forward in the 90s, unfortunately the Road Warriors had a falling out where they were separated for a few years, and I think it was about 2 or 3 years later, they decided that it was best to get back together, and they started off in an old stomping ground in WCW, which was originally obviously their NWA territory down when it was part of the Atlanta area, and unfortunately they were not able to capture the tag team championships of WCW back then, because at the time there was the Outsiders and Hulk Hogan there was Harlem Heat, there was Sting and Lex Luger, there was many tag teams in 96 in WCW, and it was almost as if the Road Warriors got lost in the shuffle. So they thought to themselves that it would be best to go full circle and go back to the WWF WWE, which they did at the start of 1997, and they had an awesome run in 97, culminating to them regaining the tag team championship. They already won it in the WWF WWE in 1991, a full year later from them debuting, and then eventually winning it again in winter of 97. Unfortunately, they only had it a month, from October to November. Vince McMahon decided that he wanted to push a younger team, which was the New Age Outlaws at the time, and the Road Warriors felt that they could be part of that movement as well. They even tried to update their attire and their gimmick name as well. They went from the Legion of Doom to LOD 2000, and when I say they changed where their shoulder pads, their makeup, their ring attire, everything was vamped up so it would look with the times. But old school wrestling fans also liked seeing the Road Warriors for what they were, you know. And unfortunately, they left the WWF WWE in the spring of '99, where they faded away a little bit, done their own thing, whether it was going back to WCW or going, to Japan. And as time went on, they actually found themselves back in the WWF WWE in 2003, when they were actually going to try and have another run of it. They even got a shot at the World Tag Team Championships against Kane and Rob Van Dam, who were the champions at the time. And when you look back on the WWF WWE Network and watch that Raw, they still got a Road Warrior pop. It was as if they had never left the building. And then, unfortunately, which was going to be the start of a new Road Warrior run for them, we unfortunately lost Road Warrior Hawk in September of 2003, and unfortunately the run that they were going to have didn't work out. They did put Road Warrior Animal with another person called John Heidenreich, but it didn't work. It was just one without the other, just didn't work, unfortunately. So fast forward to 2011, where all the hard work and everything like that culminated to them being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And from what I remember watching it, they have still got in the biggest pop that anybody's ever gotten at a Hall of Fame. So that hats off to them for that. Now, going to the total opposite of what the Road Warriors were, I'm going to now talk a little bit about the Dudley Boyz. Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley, or also as they've been known as Brother Uli Ray, Brother Devon, or just Devon. So the Dudley Boyz were part of ECW in 1996 when they were brought in as the Dudley Boyz stable that was around in ECW then. But as time went on, Paul Heyman found out that Bubba and Devon were like the more solid of that stable, and they became a separate tag team from that Dudley Boyz stable, and they went on to become 8-time ECW World Tag Team Champions. And unfortunately, things didn't work out with ECW as what they had planned, so they ended up going to the WWF WWE in 1999, and they went into there with their ECW gimmick. But as time had went on, from starting in 1999 to them leaving in 2005, they done exactly what the Road Warriors had done. They evolved with the times. So Bubba started off as being sort of like a guy who had a stutter and was sort of a clumsy kind of wrestler, but when he was switched on, it was a totally other story, and Devon was the mouthpiece. But as we went into 2000, Bubba actually evolved, where he became his own identity. They took away the stutter that he had, and that actually elevated them better. And the way that the tail of the tape went with the Dudley Boyz, they started off at the bottom, went to the top, and went to the top again. They just kept going. They are at least neck and neck with the Road Warriors as far as tag teams are concerned, in my opinion. Unfortunately, come 2005, the Dudley Boyz were sort of burned out. They wanted a change of scenery. They ended up going to the NWA slash TNA, and then eventually become fully TNA, Impact Wrestling, whatever you want to call it. They went there for quite a few number of years and ended up becoming NWA World Tag Team Champions. They ended up becoming TNA World Tag Team Champions, and also both Bubba Ray and Devon got the individual title runs that they so deserved. Bubba Ray Dudley under Bully Ray became the TNA or slash Impact World Heavyweight Champion, and Devon became the TNA slash Impact TV Champion. So they did eventually get their individual titles that they should have gotten in the WWF WWE. Bubba had only been hardcore champion individually and never got the push that he should have gotten when they went single in 2002. So that when they eventually came back to the WWF WWE, it started off where Bubba was invited to participate in the 2015 Royal Rumble, and that started the ball rolling, where the two of them were brought back overall the night after SummerSlam in 2015. But unfortunately, from a fan point of view, they never got to have the World Tag Team Championships again. They were sort of just like a help the new tag teams get over kind of thing, which I think is kind of a shame, because they had won the WWE World Tag Team Championships multiple times. They had won it when it was the Attitude Era. They had won it. They won both versions of the Raw and the SmackDown Tag Team Championships as well. And even when the WWE bought out WCW, they were under the WWE banner. They were the last WCW World Tag Team Champions. So, they have all the credentials to be the Tag Team Champions again. But I think in 2018, they sort of got the tag team recognition that they so sorely deserved when they became the Hall of Fame tag team. And in all honesty, in my opinion, they could have been the main event of that Hall of Fame induction ceremony, because they were absolutely unbelievable. Their speech, everything. It was awesome. Bubba Ray Dudley is doing his own thing now. Devon Dudley is actually in office now as a WWE road agent. So they're flourishing. They're getting on with their thing, and they're doing wonderfully. It would be cool if Bubba was an agent as well. That way, both him and Devon could teach the new tag teams a thing or two of how to get over in the WWE or in NXT. So, going to what this whole video is actually about. Okay, so I've had the Road Warriors, I've had the Dudley Boyz. Okay, and they are very, very similar in the way that they have evolved through the time that they were in pro wrestling. The Road Warriors themselves, they have 15 World Tag Team Championships that's been documented, and the Dudley Boyz have 25. Okay, the Dudley Boyz have 25 Tag Team Championships documented to their name, which is unbelievable. Okay, so every promotion that they've went to, they have had the Tag Team Championship, which is unbelievable. The Road Warriors are in that category as well. They've just, not had the TNA World Tag Team Championships, which is unbelievable. So my comparison result is what I'm going for here. They're very the same, but very different. You know, they've went different routes, but they are very much the same, but very different, which is a good thing, which is an excellent thing, you know. And I just think both teams' legacies is untouchable, you know. But like I said at the start of the video, the Dudley Boyz are because I'm an Attitude Era kid, okay? The Dudley Boyz are my favourite tag team ever. But the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal, the Legion of Doom, whatever you want to call them, they are the greatest tag team of all time, simply because they were the first to shoot for the stars and just kept going. So, and also if you look back on the WWF WWE network as well, in 2003 when Road Warrior Hawk passed away, the Dudley Boyz actually done a tribute for him on Raw, with the tag team championships on the line, where they done a version of the Doomsday Device, which was the finishing move of the Road Warriors. And from 2003 onwards, every so often the Dudley Boyz would do the Doomsday Device for a finishing maneuver to their opponents. So that was pretty cool. And to my knowledge, I have never seen any other tag teams do that move to pay tribute to the Road Warriors, or just use it as their finishing maneuver. So that was pretty cool that the Dudley Boyz done that. So overall, what is your opinion on both the Road Warriors and the Dudley Boyz? Do you agree with my opinion? Do you have your own opinion? Perfectly fine. Put in the comments below. Let me know. You know, let's talk tag teams. And before we finish up, you'll see that I'm proudly wearing a Porty and Proud t-shirt. This is for meatandpotatoes.co.uk. They are a printing company that do t-shirts, bags for life, face masks. They currently have two names at the moment. They have Porty and Proud and they have Pan and Proud, but they are working on getting other names out there. So if you're from Edinburgh and you are from Portobello, or if you're from Press and Pans, go online to meatandpotatoes.co.uk and put in an order. You know, they have multiple colours. I have a red, I have a blue, and I also have a black, grey, and I'm putting a please in here. I'm getting a pink one in the order as well, and I'm also going to be putting in an order for a couple of face masks as well. So go online, check these guys out. The t-shirts are absolutely phenomenal. And also, one more shoot out before I go. Hazard F5. Check this guy out. His videos are unbelievable, and also what he is offering to do just now is, if you fellow belt collectors are wanting a belt review done, but you're unsure about doing it yourself, okay, what you can do is you can drop Hazard F5 a message, and you can send him your belt, and he will quite happily do a review for you. You know, he is completely trustworthy. You will get the belt back, not a problem. But if you just want to get an opinion on the championship that you have, he will quite happily do that for you. So I'll put his description in there below as well, and you can check him out and give him a thumbs up and subscribe to his channel if you like his videos. I do. So that's it, guys. I'm done for now. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. So stay safe and take care, okay?